All right, well, I think we're just about ready to begin this panel discussion. My name is Alex Aniel, and I'm from Brave Wave Productions. And today, I'm very honored to have a special guest here at MAGFest 2019. He is one of the most influential creators of the NES era, and his name is Takashi Tateishi. Tateishi-san, お願いします。
今日初めて、日本からやってきました、メガマン2の作曲を担当した立石です、アメリカの皆さんはじめまして。
Hello everybody, my name is Takashi Tateishi. I have come here for the first time ever from Japan, and I composed Mega Man 2. It's nice to meet you all for the first time.
こうやって、ゲーム音楽ファンの人と、直接会話できる機会は本当に貴重なので、今日はできるだけ皆さんの、質問に答えたいと思っていますので、どんどん質問してください。よろしくお願いします。
So I am very happy to be here today, and I think it is absolutely very important to have the opportunity to speak with fans directly in an environment such as this one. So I encourage all of you today to come forward and ask me whatever you would like.
そうですね。日本では、日本ではゲーム音楽を作る人は、そんなに有名ではありません。で、アメリカでこんなに、知られていることにびっくりしています。
So in Japan, video game music composers are not necessarily very famous people. However, here in America, I found out that is not the case, and that video game composers do have a level of fame here.
なので、何か質問のある人はどんどん質問してくださいね。どうぞ。
All right, and that's it for the introduction. So if you have any questions, please come forward and ask us. We should probably have one or two mics going around. If you can form a line in the center of the room.
そういうシステムね。あ、すごい。そういうシステムなのね。
And since we do have only just under an hour for questions, so we would appreciate it if you could just ask one question. And if you happen to have anything else you might want to ask, we do have an autograph session that will go for 2 hours long. You might have to reserve a spot, but if you have, you're free to ask him a question at that time as well. And he'll be around the show as well, so there'll be plenty of opportunities to chat. Thank you, Patrick.
Hello.
First off, thanks for creating the amazing soundtrack of Mega Man 2. We all love it. I'm sure that's why we're all here. It's so memorable to our childhood. It's a big part of mine. So thank you. That's my first comment.
素晴らしいロックマン2のサントラを作っていただいて本当にありがとうございます。みんなそのサントラが大好きで、そのためにここに来てます。
今日来ている人たちに僕も本当に、感謝しています、30年前にそれを作ったことを今もとても良かったことだと思っています。
Yeah, and I am actually quite grateful as well that you're all here today, and it amazes me just how something that I created 30 years ago can still be loved today.
For my question, given the limitations of the Nintendo Entertainment System's sound chip, what was the creative process going from composing the music with real instruments and then keeping in mind those limitations to then put them actually into the NES soundtrack.
そうですね、ファミコンの機能制御の考えると、まず生楽器とかで音楽を作曲するんですけれども、ファミコンに切り替えることについてどうお考えですか？なる
ほどね。当時は、30年前は、生楽器で作曲をしてそれが、最終的にファミコンの音になっていったんですけれども、当時はとても嫌でした。今は、その頃の、音としてとてもいい音だと思っています。当時は嫌で今はいいと思っています。
So yeah, it's interesting you asked that because the process was composing the song using real instruments and then having that data all converted to be compliant with the NES sound chip, as you mentioned. And actually, at the time, I thought it sounded pretty crappy. I thought that it wasn't terribly good music and that the original would be a lot better. But actually, today, my feelings are quite different. I find that NES music actually sounds quite appealing, unlike before.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I very much enjoy your work. Thank you for everything you've ever done. My question is on Mega Man 10. They brought back all the composers from the previous Mega Man games. They had Manami Matsumae, Boon Boon, and Yuko Takahata, and everyone else. And they had each of them composed a new stage theme. Notably absent was your contribution from you. I think you were credited for a short stage clear jingle, but apart from that, I didn't see your name on the soundtrack. Is there a reason for that? Were you busy at the time, or is there something else going on?
素晴らしい作品を作っていただきありがとうございました。ロックマン10についてなんですけれども、そのゲームのサントラなんですね。過去、ロックマンの過去作品の方がいろいろ参加してるんですけれども、松前まなみさんとかブンブンさんとか竹原優子さんとかなんですけれども、なんていうの、立石さんだけなんかあんまり出てないようですね。ステージクリアのジングルは立石さんとの名前が載ってるんですけれども、
なんでやってないのか。
なんでやってないかっていうことですね。
現在僕は、作曲をしていなくて、会社の他の仕事で会社の社長をしています。もう、カプコンから、コナミに移って作曲をもうしなくなりました。そして自分の会社を作ってさらに、作曲をしなくなってしまったので、今回は参加をしなかったという感じですね。
Yes, indeed, I did not work on Mega Man 10, and the reason for that is actually I do not do any musical composition anymore. So I left Capcom a long time ago. I went to Konami soon after that, and it was at that point where I actually stopped composing music. I do run my own company, so I am involved in an entirely different line of work today. So that's why I was not involved in Mega Man 10.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you could have any musician or band from any point in history cover your work, who would it be and why?
立石さんはもし自分の曲を別のミュージシャンにカバーしてもらう機会があれば誰にカバーしてもらいたいですか？誰でもいいですけど。
昨日やってくれた人たちいたよね。
ビットブリゲード、はい。
人たちはとにかく素晴らしいとまず思ったのと、誰にカバーしてもらっても今は嬉しくてしょうがない。誰でも OK です。どんなカバーでも全部歓迎しています。
Well, yesterday, Tateishi-san witnessed or watched the Bit Brigade concert live for the first time, and he was absolutely amazed at their performance. It was wonderful, but he actually cannot just choose anyone in particular to cover his music. He would love for everybody out there to cover his music, and no matter who covers his music, he's always happy to listen and watch such things. So he absolutely encourages everyone to cover his music if possible.
だから皆さんもどんどんやってくださいという。
So everyone, please make your own Mega Man 2 remixes. He'll listen to them.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you here. I was wondering if you have a favorite piece of music that you've done from any games.
自分の作った曲の中で一番好きな曲を教えてください。
自分の作った曲の中でってことね。まず、ロックマンの中では、エンディングが一番好きです、エンディングの最後にもう一度テーマが出てくるところが大好きです、他に作った曲は作曲していた時期が昔すぎてもう忘れてしまいましたというふうに、はい、曲のことあんまり覚えていない。
Well, in terms of the music that I made for Mega Man 2, I would actually say the ending theme. And what I like in particular about the ending theme is how it actually transitions back into the main theme toward the end. But other than Mega Man, it's been so long since I've composed since I've composed music, so I actually can't really remember what I made back in the day.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Hi, thanks for coming to America. I was wondering if Matsumae-san had any input for you when you started your work composing for Mega Man 2 to preserve the Mega Man sound. And similarly, did you also provide input for the composers of Mega Man 3? And what were the important themes or musical aspects that you wanted to preserve?
でロックマン2を作曲するにあたって松前さんから何かアドバイスとかいただいてましたか？それと立石さんはロックマン2を、終えてからロックマン3の人にアドバイスしたりしてたんですか？
松前さんから特にアドバイスはなかったんですけど、席が横だったので横の席にいたので常に彼女にこう曲を聴いてもらいながら作っていました。でそれが一つと、その後ろのロックマン3に関しては、僕はやりたいと言ったんだけどやらせてもらえなかったので、特に、何も、伝達事項はなかったですっていう感じですね。
Well, in terms of my relationship with Manami Matsumae, she didn't officially advise me on what to do with the soundtrack, but she actually sat next to me at Capcom at the time. So every time I made a new track, I would actually have her listen to it and then get her feedback. So she was involved in that sense. As for Mega Man 3 and the people who came after, I actually really wanted to do the soundtrack for Mega Man 3. I really did, but unfortunately I wasn't assigned to that project, so I had nothing to do with Mega Man 3, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So as very common when listening to music from the 8 and 16-bit eras, especially with your work from UN Squadron, Sidearms, 1943, and Mega Man, the music tends to transition very well into rock and roll arrangements. So I was wondering if you drew any inspiration from any popular rock and roll from the 80s and early 90s, such as like Iron Maiden.
So at the beginning you said this was not common in those games, or it was common in those games?
Oh no, it was common.
Very common, okay. 立石さんの曲はやはりロック&ロールにトランジションすることが多いんですけれども、他のタイトルもそういう仕組みになってるんですけれども、たくさん、それについて何かインスパイアされた作品とかありましたでしょうか？
僕はもともとバンド活動をやっていて、歌をメインのバンドをやっていたので、そのバンドの影響が大きいですね。だから歌うようなロックの曲が大きいですね。で、影響を受けたのは YMO とかメゾフォルテとかですね。
So yes, actually before I even joined Capcom, I was part of a band, and that band performed songs that had vocals to them. And so in that sense, I was quite influenced by that activity for a long time. In terms of actual music acts that I found to be inspirational, I would say Yellow Magic Orchestra, of course, and actually Mezzo Forte as well.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
Capcom, in recent years, with recent Mega Man titles like Mega Man 11, have focused on a more techno or trance-like soundtrack, with guitar mainly being in the background or not present at all. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that, Tateishi-san, and what you think Mega Man music should be.
つい最近のロックマンの作品の音楽なんですけれども、ロック&ロールのじゃなくて、テクノ系に傾いてるんですね。ギターの音は、割と背景にあるんですけれども、ないことはないですね。でも、中心にはなってないです。それに対してどう思いますか？
もともとロックマン2はロックマン1とまた違ってたわけですね。でも別にその2を引き継いでいく必要は本来なかったんですよね。でもみんながそう思ってくれてるだけで、だからテクノ系に行くのは時代とともにしょうがないかなと思いますね。すごくいい曲だなと思って聴いてます。
So, Mega Man 2 had a soundtrack that sounded quite different from the original Mega Man. But there was never an official policy after Mega Man 2 that the soundtracks for those games would have to carry on with the Mega Man 2 style. So I hear that recent Mega Man games often do go for this techno style, and I think it's just a result of the change of the times. I think that it's inevitable that, if styles change, it's been such a long time. So if there's no policy for like an official Mega Man sound, that's bound to happen at some point.
ありがとうございま
あ
す。
りがとうございます。
Hi.
はい、こんにちは。
He basically took my question about like what you'd think the Mega Man sound would be like and stuff. So, are there any games that you've been playing? Have you? I mean, I know you haven't composed for video games in a while, but have you been playing any games recently?
今ゲームの音楽を作ってないということを知ってますけれども、最近ゲームを何かやってますでしょうか？遊んでますか？
最近ゲームね、あまりゲームを遊んでいませんけれども、スタークラフトを最近スタークラフトというゲームを何年か前にすごく遊びました。曲もすごく好きです。
So I don't actually play very many games these days, but a while back I was actually really into StarCraft, and I really enjoy the music for StarCraft as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your score for Mega Man 2. It's one of my all-time favorites for the NES. My guess is no, but my question is, do you receive any royalties for the score you wrote for Mega Man 2? And if not, do you think Capcom would ever offer you some?
とですね、ないだろうけど聞いときます。カプコンから印税をもらってますか？支払いされてますか？
日本は、法人著作といってその会社の著作になっているので、カプコンさんからはお金はもらってないけれども、愛情と尊敬をもらっていますとか答えてください。愛情と尊敬をたくさんもらっています。
いいですね。いいですね。Well, in Japan, anything you make while working for a company is the property of that company, traditionally. So in that sense, no, I do not receive any royalties from Capcom. However, what needs to be mentioned is that I receive, even today, a lot of love and respect from the people at Capcom. And I'm also great friends with the people at Capcom as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. You've worked on several different hardwares, including Nintendo, the PC Engine, and arcade, and everything. Which one did you prefer to work on the most, and which one did you really hate to work on?
ファミコン、アーケード、PC エンジンなどの、ハード の経験を持ってると思うんですけれども、その中で一番好きだったハードと一番嫌だったハードを教えてください。
当時はやっぱりファミコンは嫌だったんですね。で、ファミコンが嫌で、あれが好きでした、アーケードゲーム。でもやっぱり今は、どのハードよりもファミコンが一番好きです。
So yeah, at the time, as I mentioned earlier, I think the NES or the Famicom was actually the worst hardware to work with, and the arcade, therefore, would have been the best hardware to work with or to compose for. But actually, today, my feelings have changed. I think today, no matter what, out of all the hardware that's come out so far, I think the NES is actually the one I like the most.
Okay, thank you.
はじめまして。
はじめまして。
So a lot of us like to think that the Robot Master themes are part of their personality. So I want to ask, what aspects of their design do you take into account when composing a theme for them?
そうですね、ロボットのキャラなんですけれども、キャラクターのテーマはそのキャラの性格に含まれると思われるんですけれども、音楽をテーマを作った時にどのデザインを参考にしてたんですかね。イラストとか、ストーリーとか。
それはアキラ北村から、キーワードが与えられます。例えばヒートマンなら熱い熱い熱い熱いっていうのが来ます。例えばクイックマンなら急げ急げっていうのが来ます。その言葉に対して曲を作っていったと。言葉に対してクールな曲を作っていった。
Yes, regarding the character themes, the director of the game, Akira Kitamura, gave me keywords that were associated with each character, and it was those keywords that I had to use in order to figure out what kind of theme would be appropriate for each character. So in the case of Heatman, hot was the keyword, right? In the case of Quick Man, it would have been the Japanese word isoge, which is like hurry up, like a frantic, rushed kind of pace. So I would, match those keywords with the objective of making cool sounding music.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering, was there ever a time when it kind of hit you that you made one of the best game soundtracks of all time, and how did it feel if it ever did hit you?
ゲームの歴史の中でトップの一つのサントラを作ったことはいつ認識したんですか、初めて。
まず今でも認識していないということと、こうやって皆さんとあえて分かってきたということと、やっぱりその、5年ぐらい前に一歩山田がやってきて、ものすごくそのことを熱弁していった。その頃からもしかして割と人気なのかなと思い始めた。で今回ここに来てすごくそれを今思っているところです。
Even now, I don't really comprehend. I can't really comprehend just how popular the music for Mega Man 2 is. But over the years, I've gotten a glimpse of just how much popularity it has. For example, I've met fans over the years that have told me such. 5 years ago, I was contacted by a person named Ippo Yamada. Just translators know he was here at MAGFest a few years ago. He works at Inti Creates. He's done Mega Man Zero and so forth, Gunvolt. But Ippo Yamada told me many, many times in an enthusiastic manner how popular my music is. And coming to an event like this has also reminded me just how loved Mega Man 2's soundtrack is. So it's quite a recent phenomenon, actually.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
はじめまして。And I'm glad you're well and we were able to attend MAGFest. My question is, in your long career for composing, is there any piece that means a lot of personal significance to you?
そうですね、自分の作った曲の中で、一番好きだっていうよりも一番思い出のある曲とかありますか？
アキラ北村から初めずっと、ボツが出ていたって話したけど、初めてこれだよって言われたのはやっぱりワイリーの1だったので、そういった意味では、この曲ができて、そうそうこういう感じで進めていこうって言われた意味では、そのワイリーのステージ1が。
I think the song that has a particular memory for me that I made would be Wiley Stage 1. And the reason for that is this was the song that really set the direction for the Mega Man 2 soundtrack. So I made a bunch of songs initially in the development process, and unfortunately they were not approved by the director Akira Kitamura. But when I made Wiley Stage 1, Akira Kitamura-san listened to these tracks and said, okay, this is what you need to do for the rest of the soundtrack. So go with this. And for that reason, I have particularly fond memories of Wiley Stage 1.
Okay.
ありがとう。
ありがとう。
I do not know how much experience you have with westernized versions of Mega Man songs, but there's one in particular I'd like to know your opinion on. And that is the Mega Man cartoon intro song, Super Fighting Robot.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you. Can you say one more time the question?
Yes, I'd like to know your opinion on the cartoon song, Super Fighting Robot.
アニメ番組版のスーパーファイティングロボットの曲についてどうお考えですか？
あれは全くゲームとは違うアプローチなんだけれども、あれは僕はとても曲としては好きです。ゲームとは全然違う。
Yeah, the song is quite different from the direction that the music of the games do take, but I do really like the song actually. I think it's a very well-made song.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My previous questions were kind of already asked, so pardon the sort of vague question, but if you had the resources and time to compose a soundtrack for a dream game of your choice, what would that game be like, and what would the soundtrack be like to match? Sorry.
もし機械とか予算とかあれば、なんかこのゲームの音楽作りたいとか、そういう作品とかありますでしょうか？
そっか。今はないですけれども、時間がもし戻せるんであれば、ストリートファイター2をやりたかった。
So the question was if Tateishi-san had a dream game that he would have loved to compose for or would love to compose for in the future. And at the moment, I do not have a particular game I would like to compose for. But if I could go back in time and alter the past, I would have loved to compose the music for Street Fighter 2.
Arigato.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, how was the... hello? So, how was it like for doing the music for the game Metal Gear Solid on the PS1?
He did not do the music. It says main background music recording supervisor.
Alright, so how was it like supervising the game Metal Gear Solid?
メタルギアソリッドの BGM の、収録担当の仕事はどうでしたか？
それはタッピーっていうのがタッピー TPY タッピーっていうのがメインの曲を作っているんだけれども、彼が元コナミ、彼と相談して、最高の曲をスタジオでレコーディングしたんですね。とてもいい経験でした。
So, the main person in charge of composing Metal Gear Solid was a person named Tappy originally from Konami, and I was able to work with Tappy on the compositions in that case, for the recordings rather. And in order to make the best possible music, we ended up working together in the studio. So, yeah, it wasn't Tateishi who composed it, but he was in the studio supervising the recordings to make sure that the quality was the best that it could be.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Tateishi-san. So my question is, as you know, at Capcom, you have the alias Oguretsu-kun, and in Konami, the alias Takashi Sasugano. I was wondering the origin and the meaning behind those two aliases, like how they came about.
オゲレツ君と高橋サスカノというあだ名の由来を教えてください。
オゲレツ君っていうのは、日本語ではダメな人、ダメな子供みたいな、ダメな人っていう意味。それを藤田さんって先輩の方から、あなたかっこいい名前をつけちゃダメよって言われたので、それでした。
かっこいい名前をつけちゃダメ。
ダメって言われたから、そのダメなやつっていうのが日本語でオゲレツ君っていうんですね。さすがのっていうのは、さすがっていうのは日本ですごいっていう意味なの。さすがですっていう意味なの。
あ、さすが。
そうそうそう。
さすがの。
だからその時の反動で、さすがとつけた。
Okay, so back in the day, Tateishi, or I had nicknames for the games that I was credited in. So Ogeretsu-kun, the name that I was credited under at Capcom, essentially it means damenashito, like a worthless person or a terrible person or worthless, useless, terrible, something not particularly positive. And that was a name given to me by my senpai, Harumi Fujita. And the reason the reason why I ended up with that nickname was because she said that you can't have cool nicknames in a company like this. Yeah, Harumi Fujita composed Mega Man 3 and Strider and all that, and all those early Capcom games. As for my name at Konami, it was Takashi Sasugano. And Sasuga is a Japanese word. It's used to praise people. If, for example, you do something good and then you want to praise a person, you'll say, Sasuga Tateishi-san, right? And so
the opposite, essentially.
It's the opposite, exactly. So at Konami, I was being praised, essentially, by having a name like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tateishi. So, aside from Mega Man 2, what would you consider your biggest achievement?
6万2以外では一番誇りに思う作品を教えてください。
いろいろあるけれども、みんなにこちらでは知られてないんだけど、コナミのときめきメモリアルという作品があって、これはその派生の CD とかアニメとか全部担当したので、とても誇りに思っています。こっちでは知られてないよね、多分ね。
Well, besides Mega Man 2, I think the work I'm most proud of personally is probably something that is not very well known in these circles. But when I was at Konami, I worked on the Tokimeki Memorial series. And I was involved in a lot of different branding initiatives, like making CDs and anime that were related to the property. And I'm really proud of the work I put in on those things. Does anybody here actually know Tokimeki Memorial?
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
ちなみに僕の奥さんはそれの主役の人ですね。
By the way, my wife is a voice actress in the Tokimeki Memorial series.
Good afternoon, Takashi. Sorry. What to know is what advice would you give to aspiring composers, not necessarily just for chiptune, but in general?
作曲家になりたい人に対してどのアドバイスをしますかね。
まず 曲を書き続けてくださいっていうことですね。で、音楽の才能とそれを仕事にすることはちょっとまた違います。
So first and foremost, I would say keep going and keep having at it, keep making music. I do need to stress that the act of making music as a job and having the talents for making music are fundamentally separate.
僕は今でも才能があるとは思っていない。
I mean, at this point, I don't consider myself to be very talented at all.
でもここまで来れた。
But I've managed to make it this far, so.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
はじめまして、Tateishi-san. As you mentioned before in a previous question and in a previous interview, the vast majority of your original submissions for Mega Man 2 got rejected. After those tracks were rejected, did you still want those tracks to be featured in a video game? Why or why not?
ですね、前も言われたんですけれども、ロックマン2の最初の頃に作った曲がほぼ全て没になったんですけれども、その没になった曲を何かのゲームで蘇らせようとしてるんですか？
いや、それはないです。それはもうなくなってしまいましたけれども、その後に作ったさっき生き延びた心の中では、そのボツになったような曲、ああいう曲が心で使ったような曲が全部初めボツになったんです。これが可愛い曲。
So yeah, there were a number of songs that I created early on in the Mega Man 2 development process that were not approved and therefore discarded. So those songs, I mean, I can never release them, unfortunately, and I don't have any plans to. But those songs were actually on the cuter, more adorable end of the spectrum versus the cool songs that made it to Mega Man 2. But there was another game that I ended up working on after Mega Man 2 called Kokoron. And it was the soundtrack of Kokoron where I was able to kind of resurrect the spirit of those discarded tracks. They're not exactly the same, but they do kind of go after that cutesy sort of feel. So if you ever wondered what Mega Man 2's discarded track sounded like, go play Kokoron. Does everyone know what Kokoron is?
Oh, thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you.
Hello. So you mentioned before that after all of this stuff, like 25 years ago, you kind of transitioned out of game composing and into a different business. So what sort of business are you involved in now? And what inspired, like what caused you to transition from this to that?
ですね、25年前に違う仕事に移ったんですけれども、その違う仕事に移ったきっかけと今の仕事の内容を教えてください。
まずコナミに入ったら、僕はこうバンドで作るような音楽をやっていたんですけど、コナミに入ったらそういうアーティストがアーティストがいっぱいいた。でものすごく才能があったので、まあ曲を作るのはその人たちに任せようと思いましたっていうことかな。
まず。
あともう一個何でしたっけ？
今何をしてるんですか？
今はボイスアクターの、コンサートをやったり、ファンクラブをやったり、映像を作ったりしています。ボイスアクターアーティスト。
So to answer your two questions, when I went over to Konami, at that point I had been a composer who created music with the sort of a band feel to it. But inside the company of Konami, there were actually already a lot of people in there who were capable of making great band-like music. So with those people in there, I decided to go off and do something else. All these years later, I now end up working in my own company, organizing concerts for voice actors, fan clubs, creating trailers, and so forth.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for translating. So, out of the 8 Robot Masters themes, which one was your favorite to compose?
Can you repeat the first half of the question? Out of which game?
Mega Man 2. Which was your favorite Robot Master's theme to compose?
一番ロックマン2の一番好きな一番作るのが楽しかったタイトル、ロボットマスターを教えてください。
なるほどね。その可愛い曲の中でただ一曲残ったブラッシュの曲がやっぱりとても雰囲気が違って作るのが楽しかったと。
I think it would be Crashman.
Mine too.
Because that's the one song in the game that kind of skews toward the cute end of the spectrum. It's quite different from the other tracks in the game, and I had the most fun making that track.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for composing for Kokoron, by the way. So what I wanted to ask you is, do you have a certain level of detachment from the overall product, especially in a game that you liked? Because there are certain games that you just may or may not have had the time to play, including like Mega Man 2 or what have you. How much of it was just nose to the floor, just a job, and how much of it was a genuine enthusiasm for the entire product?
So you're asking, like for Mega Man 2 or just in general? Or?
Just in general, like even for all the different projects that you enjoyed working on.
ですね、ゲームの開発に関わった時に、その作品に対してなんか愛を込めて参加していたわけですか、それともこれは仕事だからやるっていうことだったんですか？
始まった時点で、ロックマン1がもう出てたんだけど、ロックマン2はロックマン1のが大好きな人が集まってて、もう多分全部のメンバーが、要するに会社からは別に作らなくていいって言われてたものを、ロックマン1が大好きなメンバーが集まって作った。だから大好きでした。
Well, in the case of Mega Man 2, everybody involved in that game was a big fan of the first Mega Man game that had already been released, including myself. And the reality is, with Mega Man 2, that wasn't a game that the management at Capcom told us to make. You know, they said, you don't have to make Mega Man 2 if you don't want to, right? But we decided because we loved Mega Man so much that we just had to make the game. So we ended up doing that on our own. And so Mega Man 2 was definitely a love letter, a passion, yeah, a personal passion. で、ロックマン2以外の場合は？
あれかな、オリジナルの作品はいつも大好きでした。半径ものがあんまり好きじゃなかった。
So so personally, any original game, for any original game, I loved working on them, and I enjoyed working on them very much. But I did have to work on a number of licensed titles as well, and I didn't quite enjoy working on those that much.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings. Thank you for coming out today. So I am actually an amateur composer myself, and I recently learned how to make chiptune 8-bit music. Nowadays, what's generally accepted as the best way to make 8-bit music is to use tracker programs, computer programs that emulate the sound system of an NES or Famicom or other devices of the time. And I was wondering, back in the day when Mega Man 2 was created, what was the actual process of actually implementing the sounds of, implementing the music into the system, like back when Mega Man 2 was created?
彼は、アマチュア、今勉強中の、作曲家なんですけれども、最近チップチューンの音楽の作り方を、学びました。それで今の時代ですとPC 用のトラッカーアプリを使って、ファミコンや NES 他のハードの、音を再現できるようなアプリを、 使えば一番楽だと思われるんですけれども、ロックマン2を作った当時はどうでしたか？ゲームの音楽データを作るということですね。
自分で曲をコンピューターで作ってそれを譜面に出して、譜面からコンピューターのマシン語にするのは人間だったので、しかもそれをロムに焼かないと聞けなかったので、もう一回一回すごい大変だったっていう。当時はその今のアプリがやってることを人間の頭がやっていた。
Indeed, things were excuse me. Things were quite different back then. So what I had to do was I had to use my computer to compose the music itself, and then I would end up converting that music into music notes. I would send those music notes over to the programmer, and that programmer would convert all of the data to be compliant with the hardware of the time, including the NES. So the application that you mentioned earlier, where the data can just get created on the fly, back in my day, that's something a person had to do in their own head. So using their own knowledge. So it is quite different today. It was a lot harder back then.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The question I had, or not the question, but first off, thank you for the Mega Marathon last night, and like interviewing and the questions for translating and also answering a lot of the questions.
Thank you.
The question I had was, what has been the area you found most interesting or appealing here at MAGFest that you've explored or visited?
今回の MAGFest に来ていただいて、一番楽しいものとかところとかイベントとかを教えてください。
昨日全部の部屋を見てまいりました。みんながこうワイワイやってるのを後ろからニコニコ見ていましたっていうのが一つと、昨日の、ライブは最高でした。そして今日のこの質問会も皆さんとこんなに近く話ができて超最高だという。
So, at MAGFest yesterday, I actually visited all of the different areas of MAGFest, all of the different rooms, and I was observing everybody having fun from behind the scenes, and I was literally smiling the entire time because it was just great. It was one of the greatest things I've seen. The live performance by Bit Brigade that I was able to attend yesterday was also one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. And even now, just speaking with all of you today is truly one of the greatest and best experiences I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering, what advice would you give current and future game developers on how to best communicate with their composers or audio engineers on how to realize their vision?
今とこれからのゲームを開発する人に対してうまくコンポーザーや、サウンドデザイナーとうまくコミュニケーションを取るためにどのようなアドバイスを出せばいいですかね。
それは音楽を作る人がその周りの
そうです周りの開発する人。
なるほどね。お互いにその開発の人も曲の人もグラフィックの人も自分の分野の専門用語を使わないように相手と話すのがいいと思う。自分の分野の専門用語を使うのは良くない。
I think the best way, excuse me, I think the best way for people of different responsibilities to communicate with each other, so for example, music, graphics, programming, etc., would be to communicate in ways that everybody can understand. So I would recommend that people do not use their own specialized lingo when communicating with others who might not be familiar with that kind of language.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm curious to know if there were other songs or tracks from other NES or Famicom games that influenced the work you did on Mega Man 2 or that you just liked in general.
他のファミコンの作品にインスパイアされてますか？音楽的に。
音楽的にはないけれども、 ファミコンウォーズっていうのがこっちで出てるかどうかわからないんだけど、ファミコンウォーズの音楽は大好きでした。
So, in terms of music, there isn't, in particular, any other Famicom or NES release that inspired me in that sense. But actually, in terms of a Famicom game with a soundtrack that I really like, I'm actually not sure if it was ever released in the United States, but I really love the music for Famicom Wars.
こっちみんな知ってますか？
Do you all know Famicom Wars?
あれ僕は大好きです。曲が大好き。
I really like Famicom Wars.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. X.
Yep. Thank you for being here today. I apologize if this has been asked before, but to almost elaborate on the prior question, for real life influences on music, who really inspired you to learn how to compose and drive you towards your career as a composer?
前にも聞かれたかもしれないんですけれども、特にどの音楽家にインスパイアされてるんですか？作曲家になりたいほどインスピレーションになってる、インスパイアされてる人。
まあそのさっき言った YMO がやっぱりでかくて、あとメゾフォルテがでかくて、当時のジャパニーズフュージョンバンド、これはね T スクエアと言います。T スクエアっていうバンドがとても好きでした。
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I was really influenced by Yellow Magic Orchestra and Mezzo Forte. Beyond that, in terms of musicians that really made me want to become a musician myself, I was really into Japanese fusion bands back in the day, and one of my favorites is T Square.
Okay. 知ってる人いますか？ T Square.
Anyone know T Square?
Hello.
Hello.
Since game music has to loop a certain number of times based on how long the player takes to complete a level, what strategies or ideas did you keep in mind to keep that music from getting monotonous as it's listened over and over? And did that vary from genre to genre, like Mega Man 2 versus something like Tokimeki Memorial?
ですね、ゲーム音楽はステージで流れるものなんですけれども、そのために何回かループさせないといけない条件もあるんですよね。で、飽きないようにその曲を飽きないようにどうやってどのようなアプローチをされてるんですか？で、ジャンルによっても違いますか？
まずはあれですね、あまり、みんながどう思ってるかは知らないですけど、あまりこう複雑にしすぎないようにしています。あと、自分で鼻歌が歌えるようにしている。
自分の鼻。
ハミングできる。歌えるようなメロディーにしている。
So I'm not sure how others feel about this necessarily, but my approach to making music that doesn't, get tiring to listen to would be to not make it too complicated, keeping it relatively simple. And I think it's important to make music that you can hum, through your nose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm curious, how was the job culture or management style different between Capcom and Konami? And what lessons have you learned from past bosses that you can apply even with your current company?
ですね、カプコンとコナミの社風はどうやって違いましたでしょうか？で、過去多分大変なことがあったと思うんですけれども、今の仕事をするにあたって一番大事に学んだことを教えてください。
まずカプコンは、和気あいあいとしていました。で、コナミは、体育会系ってわかるかな？スポーツ。
知ってます。
そう。
知ってます。
今やっている、ことで大事にしているのは、要するに家族みたいな風に 今の仕事は家族みたいにやっています。今はだからそうそうこの方に近いですね。
So yeah, in terms of the biggest differences between Konami and Capcom, when I was at Capcom, the company had a very tight-knit kind of environment. All of the employees were friends with each other and were very close. And it was in that kind of supportive environment that we all did our jobs. With Konami, it was quite different. I like to use the Japanese phrase "taiiku kaike," which is like, literally, it's like a competitive, sportsman-like environment. Translators note, it's like, for example, a dorm that does hazing. I'm not saying this is Konami, but you know, it's like hazing in a college dorm. That's taiiku kaike in a lot of ways. It's like you foster those relationships by doing very strict or strange things. Konami was more like that. And in my current job, I do value the importance of having an environment where you feel like you're working with your family. So that was my biggest takeaway from my past experiences before doing what I do now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for coming out. Across the river, we have the Japanese Cherry Blossom Festival. And it's a cultural exchange. We bring a lot of Japanese culture to Washington, D.C. MAGFest is headquartered in Baltimore, Maryland, and we have a sister cities program with Kawasaki, Japan. And we bring so much Japanese culture here. It has inspired us. Mega Man 2, you can't not hear it every corner of MAGFest from every band. There's at least one song they just throw out of Mega Man 2. And I was thinking, like, you've had a fantastic time. Are there others in Capcom who would want to hear Bit Brigade say, play in Japan? I understand Japan has even stricter copyright opinions than America, but after your experience, could you help talk to people at Capcom and possibly make that happen under diplomatic channels?
ですね、川の向こうで毎年桜祭りというイベントがあるんですけれども、ワシントン DC で、それでマグフェスの本社はボルチモア、メリーランド州のボルチモアにあるんですけれども、でボルチモアは日本の川崎とシスターシティという関係が今築いてますね。でさらになんていうの、ビットブリゲードの人たちは日本で演奏するのはどうですかね。日本でやはりいろいろ条件があって厳しくなっているかもしれないんですけれども、よろしければカプコンと話してビットブリゲードが日本でカプコンの音楽を演奏できるようにしてもらえないですかっていう感じですね。
日本にはいろいろな制約があります。ただ、今回僕がこのフェスを見たときにこれはやっぱりすごいと思ったので、皆さんがこのフェスを盛り上げ続けることがいつかそのことにつながるんじゃないか、いつかそれをやり続けているとその日が来る可能性はとても高いと思います。
Indeed, in order to do lots of things in Japan, there are usually quite a few strings attached, and those must be navigated very carefully. But that said, coming to this festival and seeing everyone excited, you know, pretty much nonstop, you know, if people keep that going, eventually somebody in Japan will take notice, and maybe someday, you know, when they do take notice, it'll lead to an eventual event such as the one you described.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last two questions.
Hello. So, through video games and anime and other things like that, a lot of Japanese music has made its way over to America. So we hear about pop and rock artists like Gact or Bizou, Malice Miser. My question for you is there any Japanese artists you're listening to now that you might recommend for us?
ですね、最近ゲームやアニメとかで日本の音楽がアメリカまで届いてるんですけれども、ガクトさんとかですね、特におすすめできる日本人の音楽家っていますか？
今ね、米津玄師とか米津玄師とか
玄師ですか？
玄師ですね。米津玄師という新人がいるんだけど、 この人をぜひチェックしてください。
Yeah, I would recommend a young artist named Yonezu Kenshi. I really recommend you check his music out.
Will do, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And our last question for the day.
Last question. Thank you very much for coming out. I hope that this has, as you said, this has been a wonderful experience, and I was wondering if hopefully over the years, or perhaps being here, has inspired you to maybe take another crack at composing in any capacity, because I mean, I think I speak for everyone that you would find a very appreciative audience.
やっぱり聞かれました。今回MAGFestに来ることで、もう一回作曲しようと思わせることができたらと思います。
とってもありがたいですけど、今はもう何も音楽をやってないので、また新たに音楽をやるのは大変だけれども、とりあえず今ちょっとまたキーボードでも買ってみようかなと思いました。
Well,
でも買ってみようかな。
Well, I have been away from music for such a long time, so to get back into it would be quite an undertaking. That said, by coming to MAGFest, I actually am having thoughts about maybe buying a keyboard again for the first time in a really long time, and maybe having at it. Wait, so who wants him to make music again? Raise your hand.